Welcome to the Amazing Authorities Podcast, where game changers, visionaries, and category leaders share how they built their brands, platforms, and global influence. Your host is Mitch Carson, international speaker, media strategist, and creator of the Instant Authority System. If you're ready to learn from those who've done it and want to become the go-to expert in your space, you're in the right place.
Scott, welcome to the show. I'm absolutely excited to have you here. We've had conversations before this call, before this interview today, where you interviewed me. We talked about we're participating in a summit together, future collaborations, the beauty of podcasting. I've interviewed quite a few people over my career. This is one of the interviews that I look forward to because I know you're going to give valuable content. Everybody take out a pen and paper, old school, versus think your memory is perfect, because it's not. Scott, welcome to the show.
Mitch, it's an honor and a privilege, and just really grateful to be here and looking forward to diving into everything that we're going to talk about today.
Well, you're participating in a bestseller author summit that's coming up.
Yep.
You're going to share about, you've got several best-selling books, and you've got a formula for that. I would call you, almost when I thought about you after the first time we met, and you've got this Mr. Clean look. I mean, you're perfectly clean on the top and all this, the appearance. I'm going to call you Mr. Formula, because I believe you have a formulaic solution for every problem. And I say that with respect and admiration. I know you've got other names. I'm not going to call you honey. That's for your wife. So I'm going to call you Mr. Formula,
Awesome.
a new title. So
I accept that.
Okay, well, tell us why you think you left me with that impression to now call you Mr. Formula.
Well, without a systematic approach or a formula to something, well, number one, how are you ever going to achieve the results you personally want to? But in the same breath, how are you then going to teach others how to do the same thing? So having processes in place is essential for any business owner, that author that's really looking to get themselves out there. You can't just throw spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks. You have to have a success formula. And if you think about any successful business owner, entrepreneur, coach, consultant, they didn't tie a blindfold around their head and just hope, wish, and pray that everything kind of fell into place. What I realized very early on, and this is going back to my days when I was in the fitness industry, I was a personal trainer and sports nutritionist, and I did some competitive bodybuilding, and I still do some powerlifting now. Everything is formulaic. So even giving the example right now, at the time that we're recording this, I'm about a week and a half out from a regional bench press contest. And basically there's, I pick a goal weight that I would like to hit. You get 3 lifts at these meets, and you basically ramp up each lift to the third one being kind of like your max repetition. And you don't just go into the gym and just kind of lift around and, do whatever and hope and pray that when you get under the bar in 8 weeks or however long out you start training for it is, that it goes up. You have to be systematic and formulaic. So using that example, I used a formula called German volume training. And this is a very old school approach to working out, where you pick a 1 rep goal max spread out over 8 weeks, and you do a percentage of that weight leading up to, week number 8. So week 1, you would start at 55% of your 1 rep goal max, and you would do 10 sets of 10 repetitions. So German volume training is always based around 10 sets of a certain amount of reps. The second week, you would go up to 60% and try for 10 sets of 10. And then typically you reduce the repetitions every 2 weeks. So weeks 1 and 2, it's 10 of 10. Weeks 3 and 4, 10 of 8. Weeks 5 and 6, you're looking at 10 of 6, so on and so on. So there's a formula. So right now I'm going into week number 7. So I'm kind of rounding the corner, so to speak. And without that formula, I could never determine what's possible or where I am. I have no KPIs. I have no metrics to measure. The same thing goes with anything that you do. When you're wanting to have a best-selling book, my wife and I call it the field of dreams methodology. People think if you build it or if you write it, they will come. And it's just not the case. You can't just expect to write a book and put it out there, whether you're using KDP Publishing or a private label, and just hope and pray that people say, hey, I want to go buy this book. I'm going to search for it. You have to bring it to the people. You have to have a systematic approach to it. So for me, in every facet of what my wife and I do, the 3 businesses that we have, even my approach to health and wellness outside of business, something that I do for pleasure, even though it is quite painful at times. There is a formula for everything, because then I could have more of a predictive success path, rather than not having a formula at all and just, again, hoping and praying that it all works out.
Yeah, throw mud at the wall, see what sticks. It's so true. It is so true that there is a process. I come from a fitness background. I mean, in my particular sport, I'm a now retired taekwondo master. I used to own a school and all this. I think it's a perfect metaphor in life. And whoever designed this years ago is you reach certain levels based on your belts, based on predictable outcomes. And that has been the metaphor of my life, using that, where each couple years after I got my first black belt, I then went up in the ranks and got another degree, and then there were spacings in between. And it wasn't so much about physical ability. It was then about commitment to the art, but it's reinforcement. And then when you teach others in the process what you know to be true, you get better at your craft, and more and more and more. And I think the best teachers are the best students.
Yep.
As well. So
Agreed.
let's apply this. Let's go, because I understand totally. I think people can relate to that with the bench. Good luck in your bench press competition.
Thank you.
Out of curiosity, because I've got this competitive side from when I was young. How much do you weigh? What's your max right now?
Yeah, so I typically end up weighing anywhere between 159 to 164.
Wow.
Which is it's on the lighter side. It's the 75 kilogram weight class.
Got it.
And anywhere between 250 to 265 for my 1 rep max. And
Okay.
I just started getting into it. My dad competes in the over 200 weight class. He's been doing it for years. He's still putting up he's 72.
Wow.
He qualified for the Arnold Classic. He's still benching 330, 335 at 72 years old. He's a monster. Yeah, he's a beast.
How much does he weigh?
About 205.
Oh man, I'm 225.
Yeah.
Well, my old fight weight was 200, so I was a heavyweight, but on the lighter side when I competed on the pro circuit. We're going back quite a few years.
Yeah.
I'm younger than your dad, but not that much younger. And God, I missed the competition. I wish I could do that. Kudos to your father, man.
Yeah, he had brain cancer just about a year and a half ago, and he beat it, and got a double knee replacement a year ago. So he's, he always pushes his body to the limit, and he overcomes everything. And, it wasn't until this past summer, because I would travel with him to his competitions. I'm his coach, so I'm back there helping him warm up. At certain sanctioned events, I'm allowed to, lift the bar off for him. And this past summer when he was at nationals, I just got the bug again to have a fitness goal, because I owned and operated 3 gyms from 1998 to 2016, and still work out every single day. I competed in bodybuilding from 2009 to 2013, but for me, I needed to have another focus outside of work. I needed not a distraction, just another passion, and lifting has always been a passion. And I said to my dad, I'm going to be 46 years old. I'm lighter than I've ever been. I'm lean. I'm still strong. And the crazy thing is, I'm ranked number 25 in the country this year in my age and weight class. And
awesome, Scott.
So it's
competition keeps us in check.
And I'm not competing against anyone else but me. And that's the thing. That's what I love, because in bench pressing or anything like that, it's just you and the bar. That's all
Right.
it is. And whatever it ends, like you're always looking to get 1% better. You're always looking that next competition, just go up 5 pounds. Just and
Right.
again, that's what keeps you motivated.
Yeah, put 2.5s on there, and on either side, push a little bit more. That's
Yes.
great. Well, all right. So all of those teachings, all of those learnings, all of that ingrained methodology, you've then been able to apply, and those are what we would call transferable skills. And it's a mindset. And tell us now what you've done. I loved what you said in our last conversation about LinkedIn. I'm a big LinkedIn fan. You wrote a book on LinkedIn.
Yep.
So you can claim the expert title, or we got to get you a little cap or something that says LinkedIn expert. Okay. Yeah. Mr. Formula. But you've attacked it in a way where it doesn't cost money. You don't need Sales Navigator, all these positives that I realized because I invested money. I'm embarrassed, but not ashamed.
Yep.
There's a difference. I shared
Learning lessons, Mitch.
Yeah,
Learning lessons.
well, with a particular person,
Yep.
nameless, who talked about a methodology, and all it did was got me suspended twice from LinkedIn. Third time, I'm going to be eliminated. And that would be over a decade of work to create the profile that I have today.
Yep.
It scared me. So tell us about what motivated you to write your first book. So we understand that you're very process oriented, which
Yes.
I totally get. Totally get. As a martial arts master, I get it. It's a process to get there.
Yep. So my first book ever was actually a personal development, personal journey book called Good Guys Always Win, but that's a separate conversation. My first business focused book was my LinkedIn book, which is based around sales and marketing on the platform.
Over your left shoulder.
Yes. Over my left shoulder.
All right.
And what really kind of spurred that was my wife. She was helping me with a lot of the back end of my business. I was doing a ton of coaching and consulting. I had a very successful digital product called the LinkedIn Accelerator Program, which I still have today. And she said, if you want to continue to up-level yourself and really set yourself apart from other people, she goes, in everything that I'm reading, there's 3 things that people have that are experts. They have a signature course, they have a podcast, and they have a book. And I had launched my podcast. I had a signature course, but I didn't have a book. And she said, this is a way for you to introduce yourself to a wider target audience where they can get to know, like, and trust you. Basically you can turn your book into a giant lead magnet that basically is getting people to book calls and go to your website and download your lead magnet. And I'm like, that's a great idea. And that was kind of I would say the spur that kind of really pushed me forward to say, you know what, she's right. Like, if I really want to be taken seriously, if organizations are going to want to hire me and bring me in to train their marketing and sales team, if event coordinators are going to want to bring me in as a keynote, I need to have as much marketable ammunition as possible. And if you look at any great expert that steps on stage, I guarantee you almost 95 to 98% of them have a book to go alongside of what they do. And for me, I knew that the book would be a great segue for me to really promote myself and set myself apart from other quote unquote gurus out there that may be teaching LinkedIn, but in a non-approachable way, in a very non-cost effective way, in a very spammy way. I wanted to set myself apart from all those people. And I wanted to teach people not just what I'm doing on LinkedIn, but in this book, real, actionable, and simplistic things that people can do to create transcending results in their business. And that's no lie. I have people that don't even need to hire me past reading the book because I give the keys to the castle, because I seek to be a person of value where they look at me, whether they've bought my book for $14 or hired me for X amount of dollars, that they know they've been left better because I've cared more about their success than my own.
Wow. Well said. And I'm going to comment. I've been on the platform for 40 years, traveled the world, 63 countries. And I have been on the side of a seminar promoter. I started out as a speaker, for the last 25 years, I've produced my own events, but I traveled the world, not as a keynote speaker, as a platform salesperson, different category of speaker. But still, in order to achieve that expert status, your wife identified them as well. I will make one additional comment to the, let's just call it the Parthenon of stability, is book, media, platform, which is the podcast, which is a newer platform, let's just say, or media outlet, medium. And what was the third end? The ability.
Signature course.
And a course is sort of in the newer category. When I traveled the world, I had a physical course, as in a big book. It was 1,000 pages in a spiral bound. It started out with 40 pages, and I grew it over time. I sold $4 million of that from the platform. It's $500, and it grew. And then I had a workbook, which was 150 pages, spiral bound, laid flat. And then I had cassettes that accompanied it. I know I'm speaking antiquities.
All this stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but that's how it began. And then I had a whole bunch of other certificates and things that I added, a lot of stuff. So it was the course. And then I had a mentor named Dan Kennedy, who I was in his mastermind. He's a prolific author. I don't know if you're familiar with the guy, but he said, you need a book.
Heard the name, yep.
Yeah. He was sort of the godfather of info products in many circles, and said that it's interesting today. It's the podcast. I've embraced the podcast. I have my own podcast. Obviously, you're being interviewed for it. TV was the ultimate. One more thing I would add to your wife's identification is, I think, outside legitimization from publicity is important. Newspapers, magazines, radio shows, and network television. I'm biased because I come from the television world. That rounds it out where you've ticked all the boxes. But your wife, in the newer economy, newer way, I totally agree with her.
Yep.
And monster.com was the way people found jobs in the past before. Yep. And then LinkedIn came in and basically turned them into an antique. Just wiped them off the place. And then it's gotten into where you are today. Yep. What have you been able to accomplish with your clients? What have they accomplished as a result of following your roadmap?
I mean, more visibility, more credibility, obviously monetary results. I had a client recently, just closed a $70,000 client contract from my strategy. I've had other clients, one that I'm still working with to today. He's written about $3.5 million in contract business on LinkedIn. It's, podcast collaborations, keynote speaking, whatever. This is what I tell people when they kind of walk through the door and they say, I want to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
Before I say, okay, here's how you can work with me, I need to ask them, what is your desired outcome? What would you like LinkedIn to do for you? Because everyone has a different purpose. There are people that I'm working with that just want more, they want increased visibility and recognition as an expert in their space. There's other people that want more sales calls for collaborations. There's other people that want to get their course out there. There's people that want to have workshops. There's people that want to have client acquisition. There's people that want to do more joint ventures. So I need to know from a foundational perspective what that goal is, because I focus on the end in mind. So I treat every single client with a custom path. Yes, there are foundational things that I do teach each person, but the desired outcome that they have will change the methodology of what I'm teaching them, because what I teach them is going to lead them to the desired outcome over time. So someone that is not interested in doing workshops, I'm not going to teach them certain things on LinkedIn that are all based around workshops. Someone that does not want to do podcast collaborations, I'm not going to teach them about podcast collaboration. So whatever someone is looking to achieve on LinkedIn, I don't say this with ego or a big head, but I know with what I've been teaching people since 2013, 2014, accruing close to 530 written recommendations on my LinkedIn profile, helping people create thousands up to millions of dollars of additional revenue into their business based on my strategy. The only way what I teach will not work for you is if you don't follow through with what I teach. If you stay with it, I tell people LinkedIn is like any other retirement fund, like a 401k or an IRA. You do not invest once and wait for the millions to show up. You have to make small incremental investments every single day to create the compounded effect. And if you treat LinkedIn the same way, you will achieve all the business goals that you're looking to achieve.
Fantastic. What other, and you've got a particular process in order to create a bestseller. That's what also was interesting. Okay. I want to, for the time that we have left, tell us about that.
So for me, awareness and I would say creating urgency is essential when you're looking to get on the Amazon bestseller list. So using our last book to my right shoulder, the one that my wife and I wrote together called The Feel Good Business Model, which basically goes over the strategy of how we now work 3 days a week and are continuing to grow and scale each year. We, I had to learn the hard way. I paid a lot of money to a company when I was launching my first business book nearly 7 years ago to do something that I probably could have learned on my own. But I took that very large investment. I followed and tracked every single thing that they did with fine detail so I can make it my own and duplicate it and replicate it myself and then teach others how to do the same thing, which is what I do. So there's a couple key things that you must have in place in order to execute this. Number one, you should have a private Facebook page for the book that you're going to be releasing. So it's basically called, a pre-launch book page. So this year, I'll be releasing the third edition of my LinkedIn book. So I'll create a pop-up group on Facebook called the pre-launch group for the LinkedIn book for sales and marketing, right? So, and I'll start inviting people to it. The second thing that you need to have is an email service provider. You need to have an email list that you should be promoting your book to, because these are people that obviously want to hear from you. So what I typically do is I will create a registration page through one of the email listservs that we have. We have Kartra and Kajabi. And basically, this is a wait list registration page. And I will send out an email to my list saying, hey, get ready in 30 days. My brand new third edition LinkedIn book will be coming out X date. Get on the early bird registration list to be one of the first people to buy at discounted pricing when the book does come out. There's going to be prizes and giveaways for those that leave a rating and review. And basically, I do a whole sequence of emails, and this is something that we teach the people that we work with. And basically, you're just warming people up. You're just getting people to get on this wait list, right? So you're segmenting this list of people within your contacts. So typically, when I do a book launch, we'll have anywhere between 350 to 600 people on this wait list that are waiting to buy the book. So, and then what you do is you can do some discounted pricing, and this is what we suggest people to do. You do discounted pricing the first week of the release. Some people will do 99 cents for the Kindle. Some people will do free, and then they'll do a very severe discount on the paperback or hard copy because KDP doesn't care about how much you charge for the book. They measure everything in unit sales. So it used to be the hack was, and just to be fully transparent, what a lot of these companies will do, number one, they will put you into categories that are not correlated with your book at all, that have no competition. So if you sell 5 or 6 books, you're a number one bestseller, which I think is just very disingenuous.
Yeah.
The other thing is Amazon used to only measure the metrics for bestseller over a 24 to 48 hour period. That's changed. It's now 96 hours. So it's at least 4 to 5 days of consistent sales that will obviously get you the ranking of number one new release and potentially number one bestseller, number two bestseller, top 5 bestseller, whatever it is. Now, The other thing that you need to be mindful of is getting your book in the right category, because if you're not willing to put your book in the actual category it should be in, because
where you belong.
The fear of competition, guess what? When people are searching for books in that genre, your book won't populate because it's in the wrong category. To give you an example, my last LinkedIn book was in a very competitive category. It was in the sales and marketing category on Amazon. It did reach #1 new release, and it did hit #2 bestseller in that category, below Seth Godin's most recent book.
Bravo.
Thank you. But to see my name right underneath Seth Godin's was like just wild to me. But again, if you can imagine, if you're warming your audience up, and every podcast episode that I would do, the call to action would be, get on my early bird, pre-book release. Here's the link. Every LinkedIn Live that I did, it was about that. Everything I was talking about the release of this book coming up for 30 days out. So everybody was waiting for it. So if you have 500 people on a wait list that are waiting to get that book, then you go into a secondary email sequence. Well, hey, the book's available, discount pricing all this week. Grab your copy now. Don't forget to win some great prizes. Leave an honest 5-star rating and review. And at the end of the week, I'll be announcing 4 winners that are going to win X, Y, and Z. And before you know it, you've sold 300-400 copies in the first 7 days, and you've actually gotten bestseller because it's happened organically, because people are wanting what you have to offer. So that's why building an email list is so powerful, because it's also that first step of the journey that you're working with, because maybe people don't have the monetary resources to invest in your signature program, your group coaching, or your one-to-one. But during a book release, they can absolutely afford a $3.99 paperback copy of your discounted book. So that's a little bit of the process. There's a lot of other nuances, but that's the basic framework of what we do.
That's fantastic. I love it. Now, do you also, one last question, because this is all related to the upcoming summit question, which I hope you'd cover, is, do you believe in augmenting efforts and exposure with a release, adding Amazon ads?
So I did learn from my book formatter. He taught me a little bit about Amazon ads. They're very, very inexpensive. I mean, pennies on the dollar. So I do now always have a little bit of money behind my book that is pushing some Amazon ad sales. And that's just great for exposure. Even if no one is buying the book, even if it's the Kindle or the paperback, the fact that you're getting visibility through the Amazon platform, any book that you're seeing getting a ton of sales, the likelihood is that there's money behind it. You have to pay to play at a certain point. So I would say in the beginning, the first step is just getting the book out there, promoting it organically. And then if you want to continue sales moving forward, you can always put some money behind it. Have a $100 ad spend per month, which is nothing per year. And you're going to get some additional sales, visibility, and obviously exposure.
And that's where you then sell them the higher end courses and
correct.
And that's where people have to look at. It's not the front end, it's the back end that matters.
Back end. Yep.
Scott, this has been an amazing interview. And it went exactly the way I expected it, and probably exceeded that. But we would use the formula of success. It's what we talked about. It's a system, standard operating procedures. And you mentioned that with the book. You mentioned that in life. And when you have your book release on version 3, we will interview again and dive deep into that before the book launch. So we'll give you a little bit more traction to my group. Scott, thank you so much for your time today. And I look forward to seeing you on the summit. And this was an outstanding interview.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thanks for tuning in to the Amazing Authorities Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps more experts like you rise to the top. For behind-the-scenes access and free resources to boost your authority, head to mitchcarson.com. Until next time, stay amazing.